So tell me first, what kind of construction was happening on Fulton Road in Ohio City?
Sure. So there is a $9 million corridor reconstruction, which goes all the way from Clark Avenue to Detroit. So it's a brand new road, brand new sidewalks, brand new curbs, those brand new driveway aprons.
Okay. And as part of that construction, you had to cut down some trees on one side of the street, correct?
So that was not the initial plan for the construction. What happened was the contractor hired by the city to perform the construction, the invasive work that they had to do um, essentially cut through some of the major roots of the trees, which then forced them to cut them down, unfortunately.
Okay. So from what we heard from residents, they knew that some would have to be removed in the first place um, because of the power lines and the roots were overgrown. But they said 2 days ago, they woke up to the side of the street that was not supposed to be cut down, and that was also cut down. So was there a miscommunication?
No, that's to be clear, none of the healthy trees on either side of the street were originally supposed to be cut down, neither one. The issue is again, because of how intrusive the work that was done to replace the sidewalks, which again, we want to have safe sidewalks so wheelchairs can get down them. We want to have driveways that are not cracked. That's all good. The problem is that the contractors weren't careful enough with the trees and protecting the roots to save them. And so from my perspective, the investment in the road is great, and the investment in safe sidewalks are great, but they should have done more to protect these trees, that because of how invasive the work was, that they had to then come and cut down. So as a city, we have to think more critically about the green infrastructure, not just the gray infrastructure like roads and sidewalks. We got to be much more careful so that we don't end up having to cut trees down because of how damaged they were. We know how important trees are. I mean, air quality, housing value, all of that. So we've got to, and I'm actually working to figure out a new policy to make sure that happens, because we can't lose trees like this again.
Right. And I know, like you said, greenery is so important in a city, and especially Ohio City. A lot of people were concerned that with the trees being cut down, it was going to affect their property values and things like that. So I guess I know people were tagging you on posts on Facebook. So what would you say to those people who are concerned right now?
Yeah, exactly that, right? We never want healthy trees to be cut down. And what needs to happen moving forward is that we are much more careful as a city as a whole, by the way, east side, west side, it doesn't matter. When we have these large infrastructure projects that we are not, that we're protecting the trees. So that has got to happen moving forward. Specific to Fulton Road, I've come to an agreement with the city administration that there'll be approximately 100 new trees planted from Clark Avenue to Detroit. The first phase is going in this fall. The second phase most likely in the spring. But Fulton Road, where they can plant new trees, there will be new trees put in.
Okay, well, that's good. And then one more question for you. Is there any recourse from the construction company that did this, or will they be fined or anything for going back and cutting down those trees?
So that would all be managed through the Office of Capital Projects at the City of Cleveland. I have not heard back directly on that yet, but that's who would manage that process, because they're the ones that oversee these construction projects.
Okay. Is there anything else that people in the city can do if they feel strongly about this? Is there someone, I guess, they can send their complaints to?
Yeah, look, I think we all need to advocate for to make sure that in road construction projects, we are prioritizing the health and well-being of trees. We can replace them, sure, and we will on Fulton Road, but it's going to take years for them to get to the maturity of where they were before. So again, we're looking at new policies as a way that we can make sure that happens. But people should absolutely make their voice heard that they care about trees, especially in major construction projects. We got to protect our trees.
Right. Okay. Do you know where, I mean, obviously we're hearing this from from Facebook and some constituents as well. But I guess I don't know where that, where I guess people understood that there were going to be trees cut down in the first place. So you're telling me that there was absolutely no plan for that to happen at all?
The original plan for Fulton Road, there were probably, out of all the trees, like 5 or 6 trees that needed to be taken down. For example, where the traffic circle is being placed, like they had to take the trees down that were in the middle of the traffic circle, of course. So there were things like that that had to happen. But the trees that were impacted by the construction, and then there were some dead trees, which of course those came down. But the trees that were impacted by the construction originally were not supposed to come down on either side of the street. So those were not planned on coming down. That was not communicated to me or the community that those were coming down. Again, unfortunately, they came down due to the invasive work and, in my opinion, the lack of protecting them by the contractor.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Councilman.
You're welcome. You have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks so much.